Welcome on today's vlog, guys. In this vlog we are going to show a dike that was built more or less a decade ago, and some parts of the dike collapsed just a few months after it was finished. This dike was built just beside the road in one of the barangays of Dingle, Iloilo, Philippines. It was because floodwaters kept on collapsing the soil that's beside the road that this dike was immediately taken action to be built, because if it would have taken longer before the dike was built, floodwaters could have destroyed not just the riverbank, but it may also had collapsed the road also, that could have had led to problems with motorists from crossing, because if the road had also collapsed, they might have used another way as a detour to a nearby barangay Libo, and it would have cost much more if the damage of floodwaters had reached the road and other parts of this lands beside the road. Several meters of soil from the riverbank to this present dike was collapsed by floodwaters, and a lot of bananas back then in these parts of riverbanks, and a lot of anglers go here to fish. And since the dike was built, a new kind of fishing environment for anglers was built. This river can be seen on Google Map, which we will later see, so that exact location will be revealed. This river called Jalor curves so steeply in this part of town of Dike, province of Iloilo, Philippines. During rainy seasons, LPAS, and typhoons, floodwaters rises on this flood-prone place. And houses on the opposite side of the road are the one most often affected, because they become underwater when floodwaters rise. And residents used to evacuate to a nearby evacuation basketball court center during floods. After the flood, they go back again to their respective residences, live as usual, until the next flood rises again. During floods, people were warned by LGUs, and they evacuate their belongings to a nearby covered basketball court. Unlike in the Amazon rainforests, residents or local indigenous tribes, they have house that floats like a raft when floodwaters rose to 20 feet or more, and they continue living in their houses even during flood season. As you can see in this dike, guys, soil or mud began to settle on the dike, and people planted bananas, papaya, and others. Today we couldn't see any anglers or fishermen around, because maybe it's not season for them to fish. During summer, gate of the Maraboro Dam are opened, and a lot of water is released, resulting to very shallow river below. When the river becomes very shallow, people overfish the river. All kinds of fish hunting may occur. There were times that fishes are poisoned, either by thiodine or the waste liquid material from Casa or Pasay City sugarcane processing, and sack by sack of fishes being harvested due to poisoning. Above is the map of the Philippines, and we see the exact location at western Visayas Panay Island where this damaged dike is. You will see the river is very curved steeply in this Google map. And that's the curved part of the river where this dike was built. The river and the road is between the boundary of Barangay Tabugan and Licuan, town of Dingle, province of Iloilo, Philippines. That's the exact location of the river, the road, and the dike that was built, and part of the dike collapsed. will point my forefinger is the level of water that sometimes the flooding of water reaches during rainy seasons. This dike is also the dating place of some guys. And we are now walking to the damaged part of the dike, so we could show in this vid. This is the farthest part of the dike that's still standing, and next to this are the collapsed dike or ruins. And here's a creek here that's leading or passing under the dike and out to the river. We can see a lot of vegetation that have grown to the length of collapsed dikes. I have no idea if this has something to do with issues in the country of the Philippines about ghost projects or substandard public works projects. I am not blaming nobody, but this issues or problems of the country is between the government officials, contractors, and those who are rallying against ghost projects and corruptions. I myself just fond of taking videos and vlogging. Let's leave the accusations and problems to them. We are now standing to the collapsed dike parts. The dike collapsed to 1 meters to 3 downward, not level to the first dike we have seen earlier. And a lot of plants and vegetations have grown and covered the collapsed dike. As you can see, parts of this collapsed dike is not level to the earlier dikes we have seen. These parts had become so lowered. You can see the level where I stand and the lowered collapsed dike. So what do you think why these dikes collapsed? Is it due to what or how? Maybe you guys could explain further about everything you know in these matters. This is the very tip of the dike. And hey, an angler is there. If you have something to say or share or a comment about this collapsed dike, just comment below, guys. Thanks for watching.